All right, hello everyone. I'm here with super famous how do you say it?
Argentinian.
Argentinian pro,
Yeah, something like that.
Luis Salvatto. I actually met Luis at one of the Super Sunday series, like the final tournament. Where I like before I met him, I thought I was like pretty good at ping pong, like a table tennis, but then I then I got my ass kicked. So anytime we have opportunity to play, we like to play. We actually were a part of the same team a couple of years after that, and we also played in one of the testings. So that was fun.
I have some videos of that.
I don't think I've ever beaten you, but I've got close a couple of times.
Well, that's when you have a big gap against your opponent. You need to slow down a bit so your opponent can feel like he
No,
can win against you. So to not make feel your teammate like super sad.
So you're saying that even if I played a lot better, you would still beat me? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe- I don't know. You can imagine what's on my mind.
Anyway, I mean, for people who don't know, Luis is a former Pro Tour champion, player of the year, former MPL, and now currently a competitor of Rivals. How are you doing, Luis? What's up with you?
I'm fine. I'm pretty good. Like this year has been pretty bad for the world, not for myself, but I really want to start a new year with new things to do and no beers
No
everywhere
beers?
like this year. Virus, like virus.
What do you mean?
The, the COVID,
Oh,
not
okay, sure.
no virus.
Yeah, I
Like
thought
with the
I thought you were
vaccine.
talking about beer all of a sudden, so I was like, what is going
No,
on?
no, 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 no. Remember that my English is not the best.
No, it's fine. It's good enough. It's good enough.
Okay.
Um, I remember that when I met you, you just became a gold level pro, if I'm not mistaken, and I actually lost to you in one of the pro tours. At the time, I thought that I just lost to this like random guy who got lucky against me. I don't necessarily think that anymore. But you became gold. You even top 8 at pro tour that I lost to you, I think. But you were kind of always like this, pretty good average guy. But then all of a sudden, you just had a year when you just like completely crushed everyone. You won a pro tour. You became player of the year. Things were going great. You became MPL and stuff. And then the following year, you maybe didn't do like as well as people thought. Was maybe the reason that you just kind of proved everything and you wasn't trying as hard, or like what happened there?
Well, the thing is, I have like a normal life, like a normal guy in Argentina, doing some studies, some business, and at one point I won a pro tour, and I started to play more like se- it's not seriously because I played seriously, but like with putting more effort and more time.
Mm-hmm.
And after the pro tour, we played a Grand Prix in Chile. The trios one, we won. So and then at one point, I was super close to Player of the Year, and it was insane. And I went for everything. I traveled around all the world. At that point, I never expected like being the Player of the Year. And of course, at the beginning of the season, I was dreaming to reach gold, and then I won a Pro Tour. So I had like platinum for 2 years. So I didn't expect all of that. And to be honest, I didn't have the preparation or the hard work from several years
Mm-hmm.
before like getting results. I got the results like pretty fast, and I was super excited and motivated, and I think I was in my highest level of play. The But after winning everything, I lose all that inner fire. I was playing okay, but I didn't have that ambitious, that extra that makes you win some games when you are like super brilliant on your plays.
Mm-hmm.
And I lose that, and it was a super rough year because I didn't have any results, and my opponents in the MPL didn't have that problem that I had, so they crushed me. But then I recovered some motivation, and I'm now in a good level of play. I had some results, so I'm I'm pretty excited to come back to MPL or stay in rivals. So this season is very important to me because it's like a proof that I can stay in the pro
Mhm.
level.
You're from Argentina, which is in South America, and I've been only to Chile once, but I don't really know South America myself. But I heard it's really hard to become a pro. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're from Argentina, Brazil. Like maybe there are not that many GPs. It's very expensive to travel to all the tournaments and stuff. Did you feel that influence? Like, do you maybe think that if that wasn't the case, you would maybe become pro faster? Like, can you just talk about it a little bit?
Yes, that's completely true, but also nowadays it changed a lot because it used to be in the way that you described, like only a few GPs, pretty expensive. Like going to United States to play a GP is pretty much impossible because it's so expensive for someone from South America, and we didn't have many shots to play good tournaments. And even when a pro tour happens, like four people from here went to play without team, without practice. So it was super hard to make that jump from being a random qualifier to being the pro circuit. And I think with Sebastian Pozo, we did a pretty good job uh, starting to work with decks at that point with Willie Edel and some Brazilians, Saporito, Marcio Carvalho. So they helped us a lot to mostly to prepare for the tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, nowadays is not even difficult to living here because everything is online.
Mm-hmm.
It's even better from here because with the money that we can win, like for example in one arena open with $2K, someone can live like 4 months really good here, and
Oh,
in
is
other
the is
places
the
like
is the cost of living
the
in
economy.
Argentina low? Like, do you not need that much money compared to, for example, United States? I don't actually know. So, is it the case?
Yeah, yeah. At this moment, the minimum salary is between $200
Wow,
and so
that's even less than in Czech
from
Republic. That's crazy.
yeah, well, the situation of the country is pretty bad, but of course it's good if you earn in dollars. So it's bad for everyone living here, but it's good for the lucky ones like me that earn in dollars.
That's great. Actually, in the year that you won a Player of the Year, interesting thing happened. You actually at the end of the season, you had the same amount of points as Seth Manfield, and you played this like gauntlet against each other. Basically, you chose like four standard decks or something. I don't actually remember 100%. Can you like it never happened in history before. I guess it happened once with Brad Nelson and Guillaume Matignon, but the format was a little bit different. How did you like prepare for that? Like, can you just like talk about it a little bit? Because obviously not that many people played in anything like that. So it's just interesting, and I would like to hear about that a little bit.
Well, I will say first of all what Sebastian told me the other day. He told me I only saw Luis one time like afraid, and it was against Sam Manfield in the Player of the Year playoff. I never seen him before like terrified like that day, and that was true because there was so much online, and the format was four decks with no sideboard, with a free mulligan each game, and to beat your opponent, you need to win one game with each deck.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to win one of each. But at the moment that I see the deck list, like his deck list, it was kind of a relief because I felt like the format was pretty bad, to be honest. No, not much skill involved in the games. So my biggest afraid was that he like in some way that I couldn't see outplay me with the deck choices.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw his decks, we shared three decks and we changed like I think it was Sky Control from my side and Blue Red Phoenix from his side, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much the same. So since he didn't have an edge on the deck building, I felt some relief because I expect like of course good games good technical play from him, but it was more about luck, and I was luckier than him, and I won. So
Yeah, I
it
was
was
watching.
for
I was actually there when you played against each other. I saw only one of the games, and the game that I saw was that he just played White Weenie against your Jeskai deck, and he just went like 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, and you just opted into the free mana,
Clarion.
the Clarion, and Stead was just like, and that was it. So it didn't seem like there was too much luck involved in those matches. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, skill is
yeah,
what I meant. Yeah.
yeah. The format wasn't very good, but in the end, I was luckier than him. That I don't have any problems to say it because
I mean, no one really cares. I
the
mean, you're the one who won, so you know.
no, yeah, I know, but I admit that he's better than me. I'm not I don't have any problems to admit that. Of course, he's St. Manfield, so he's one of the best. But I feel that I can play a really good magic level, so I was not afraid of the comparison. But of course, I think he's a better player in terms of overall skills. Like I can be really good like in technical play, but I'm pretty bad at sideboarding or deck building. So
Mhm.
I feel that I won that match because the gap between him and me is not very good. It's not very high, but
Mhm.
it is in the end.
You mentioned Sebastian Pozzo, which is also a really good player from Argentina. Uh, how big is the Magic community in Argentina? Like, is it like pretty big and a lot of people like try to prove something, or is it maybe not that big? But as you said, the average income is actually very low. So the people who try really hard because if they get there, the money is actually pretty good. How it is in Argentina?
Well, the community is not that big, but it's very constant. Like the people who is playing just keep playing. And nowadays with Arena, some old players came back to the game again. But as I say, the economy is so tough here, so it's not easy to have a competitive deck even in Magic
Oh, I see.
Online or even in Magic Arena because you need to spend a lot of money, or even in like in real in paper Magic. So it's hard because pretty much all the big tournaments are standard, and you need to buy new cards, new sets, and is for example here in Argentina we pretty much doesn't don't play limited because
Hmm.
it's so damn expensive to just fire a draft, you know.
But you are like one of the best limited players that I ever played against. Like, so I don't know. It doesn't really add up that you say that you don't really play limited, but at the same time, you always have these like kind of crazy decks that don't really like seem obvious or make sense to me, but then you just like crush everyone with it. So like, I don't know. How did it happen when you're saying that you're not really playing limited?
Well, but that is because I used to play a lot. In my very first years of Magic Online player, I crashed all the constructed portion. I earned a lot of ticks, and then I burned them out everyone until the last of one playing draft. And probably I learned in the hard way. But of course, I think I learned a lot drafting with Marcio.
That
The
makes
years
sense.
that we tested together, just watching him drafting and playing, I think it helps a lot to improve the game. So I was lucky enough to have good like examples of limited players.
In one of the like in one of the previous interviews that I made, some people commented that they would like me to ask players like more advices on like maybe how to prepare better, like what are you doing in terms of preparation and stuff. How do you choose your decks? For example, the time that you top-aided your first Pro Tour and that I lost to you, you played this like Mardu goggles deck or whatever. No one was really playing that. Like, how did you even arrive to that option? Just like tell us something about your preparation and how you're doing so well. Just like give people some advice if you can.
So a lot of people ask me these kind of questions, like waiting for like a good answer. Like I do this, this, and this. But the truth, and you know the truth, is that I'm not very good doing some testing and preparation.
Yeah, a lot of the
So, for example,
sorry to interrupt. Like for example, the like in one of the testings, we played this blue white deck, right? And like me, Jeremy Desani, and Sebastian Pozzo were like agonizing over the last sideboard card, and Luis was just always like, doesn't really matter. Let's just play the fucking lighter like that, guys. Like, can we just play ping pong? so, so yeah, I definitely can agree with that. Luis isn't really that big on a preparation.
Yeah, well, I always has been very impulsive with my decisions, not only in Magic, in life in general. And for that Pro Tour, in the one that I made to pay with Boros goggles, and it was a
Was it
super
Boros, not
shitty deck.
Mardu? Was it just Boros?
It wasn't Marley, it was just Boros.
Oh,
But
I see. Okay.
the I was kind of lost. It was my first Pro Tour, and I
Oh, it
was
was your
just
first Pro
testing.
Tour? I actually didn't know. Wow. Now it hurts
Well,
even more.
I played a Worlds in 2011 in San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
At that time, they didn't call Pro Tours, but it was kind of the same. But my first Pro Tour was the Shadow Sovereign Innistrad when I topated, and I beat you and Michael Bond. You were playing the same deck, I guess.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I
my deck was
remember
super hard.
I thought I'm gonna win, and then you top that goggles on like the specific turn that like if you drew it a turn afterwards, I will be fine. But it's like
I
this
remember.
guy.
I remember.
But I made a mistake. I made a
Well,
mistake, I think. So
yes, the story for that tournament was I was just testing, and most of the people were playing Company and White Winnie, and there was some Brazilian, Tulio Howdy, who was playing mono red goggles, and played the deck a bit, and it was good against White Winnie, it was okay against Company, and I say, okay, fuck it, I don't want to play like the best deck like Company, because people will hate it. And the night before, Willie Eder joined the boat and say, let's put some white cards because we have the Manland, we have Secure the Waste, we have something. And I say, okay, this sounds smart. We have Eldrazi Displacer for the Cyber.
hmm
I won some games thanks to that card.
I think you also played
And I
something
went to
like
the
Linvala, right? Like the 6 mana angel or whatever.
oh yeah, that
Yeah.
card was pretty good.
That is a Luis card. If there is a Luis card,
Uh,
then it's definitely Linvala.
yes. And well, I went to the tournament without playing any single match with the deck with white. I had some 1-2 days preparation with mono red, but I went with white. But my score was pretty mediocre, was 6-4, and
hmm
then I lost in the top eight, so 6-5. But I did 6-0 in limited, so that was the key to make the top eight.
That's awesome. How does it feel to I think how old were you when you were playing the first Pro Tour?
I'm 32 now, so it was 4 years ago, so 28.
Yeah, so for someone who is like really good and really a really famous player like you, that's actually like pretty late, right? Like playing your first Pro Tour 28. How does it feel to just like you just like playing this game for fun and then you go to the tournament and you just crush everyone and you to pay it like how did that feel?
Well, it always feels really good. Like winning a tournament is it's a feeling that you can't describe because even when you lose the finals, that you reach second place, that is huge, you lose. Like you didn't win. But when you win the last match, the final, and you win it all, it's like insane. It's a feeling that doesn't have any comparison.
hmm Um, Nowadays, I was asking this a lot of the people. We don't have the real tournaments. I mean, it's because of Corona mostly. What do you think about that? Do you mind that you're just like sitting home playing online, or maybe you're okay with that? Like, are you missing your friends, the traveling? You said that now for someone who's from Argentina, it might be pretty good because the cost of traveling is like pretty high and stuff. So just playing from your home is perfect. But maybe you just like the traveling a lot, and now you cannot really do that. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a good moment to see that online events can work. Like it was a good like motivation to make it work. But I really miss the real events. Miss the trip with friends. Like for example, the days that we've been in Orleans together. it was fantastic. It wasn't only testing; it was kind of a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like all the people are like in the same boat that we miss the gathering. Of course, we miss Magic, but the gathering is like pretty nice. You know, a lot of people from other parts of the world. You enjoy the night before a tournament. So I really miss the events, and I think that I have a bigger edge playing like face to face against
Yeah,
people. I think that I can have a good read of what people are thinking.
yeah,
So
I wanted to actually say that Luis is like really good in like reading your opponent. He just like stares at you, and you know that he just knows. Like it's really hard to like bluff you and stuff. So do you maybe think that your results suffered a little bit just because like everything changed to online play right now?
No. Because that is a an edge, like realizing what is your opponent thinking. But I think my technical play is very good as well, so I'm not afraid of like playing for the rest of the life online. I prefer to play in real life, but I think I can adapt properly to playing online.
Mm-hmm. Well, now with like all the tournaments online, you basically mostly play standard and like sometimes historic. We don't really see that many like limited tournaments. Not to mention the fact
Mm.
that we don't play like tournaments like modern and legacy at all. Uh, does it bother you? Because I don't know. For example, myself, I like really enjoy to play legacy. It's just like kind of a different game with just like the same rules. So it just like feels like I lost part of what I left. Just like playing standard tournaments all over again. I mean, it can be fun, but it's nice to switch it up. Like back in the day, we just had GPs in in different format every single week or whatever. Does it bother you, or like you don't mind? Like which format do you like and stuff like that?
Well, I will prefer that they bring some limited events because I really enjoy to play limited, and I think it's harder to standard or like, to constructed itself because you have many decisions all the time and they are all always different. But it doesn't bother to me because I never reach the point of being tired or sick of Magic. I always play Magic and I always have fun. Sometimes even when formats are not in the best moment, you can even have really good matches. For example, I found myself enjoying a lot Pauper because there was a lot of micro decisions that can give you a win if you
Mm-hmm.
like play perfectly, and that's always happens to limited. When in limited, when you make like those micro decisions that turns the game in your favor, is very good. And in constructed, doesn't happen quite often. So it happens, but not that often. So I prefer a mix between constructed and limited, but I know that being like everything online is hard to organize some drafts and that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But I think we at some point, if not Wizards, someone will bring some good tournaments. I would love to play like for example, 64 people double draft tournament. Like 64 people, one winner. A draft, then the winner's another draft, then the winner like wins it all.
Yeah,
It looks like insane.
that would be awesome. Do you think that
Just imagine we put like $1 each, $64. Then we give like $30 for the winner
Yeah,
and
I don't really
$10.
understand why are they not making, like, for example, they have like these arena opens like every month or something. Why cannot they make an arena open and limited? I like understand that maybe like the pro tours and stuff you want to make standard because the limited might not be as enjoyable for the audience, but with the opens, like, no one is watching those anyway, so why wouldn't you do that? It just seems kind of weird to me.
Yeah, I think that they are doing a pretty good job handling all this situation, and Arena is pretty new,
Hmm.
and Wizards is not like a big company like Blizzard or some like companies that in the game
Hmm.
industry. So I think with a bit of patience, we will have some good limited tournaments. I wish I want that, but
Yeah, I
I
think a lot of
expect
people do.
yeah,
um
it's
you mentioned that you actually enjoy playing poker a lot. Like, until like 3 months ago, I actually had no idea about the format, but I have a new roommate and he plays it all the time. And as you said, like, it's actually a lot of fun. It's very similar to limited. Like, there are like these small edges that like really matter. You don't have like these bombs like Nissa or Hydroid Crisis that just immediately win the game. You just have to like,
yes.
do I play this fairy that draws a card when he can have like a spell stat or sprite, like these small decisions, and like, if you do everything correctly, you like have one extra card than your opponent and you end up winning and stuff. Um, which decks are you playing? What do you think is the best? Just like if you can talk about the format a little bit, because not that many pros play that.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I found myself playing Tron in Pauper, which a lot
That's
of
rude.
people
That's rude,
hate it.
man.
Yes, but I lost like a lot of times because of the clock, because the deck was so slow, and because of misplay and miss cyber. I even did an article about Pauper, like excusing me, saying I'm new in the format. This is not checked information, and I put my cyber plan, and some people kindly say to me, "You're doing- this is bullshit, bro." you and and then explain me how to cyber,
And
and
you're like,
I say,
oh, that makes sense.
"Oh, I understand now why I lose so many games against these decks, because I was doing super incorrect." But that's the story of my life at this moment so far. I probably the game that I lost more times is the game two. I'm the one who always cyber incorrectly, lose the game two, and then win the game three because I fix the
Oh, so
mistake.
like during the game
But it's
two,
really
during the game two, you like learn what you were supposed to do, and then you win the game three. That happens to
yes,
me all the time as well. I think that's pretty common. It's
yes, I
kinda
know.
it's kinda sad to see, because like you should know beforehand, but a lot of the times you just kinda like during the game too, you like have this card in your hand, and you're just like,
Yes.
well, if it was the other card, that would be so much better. And like, oh,
Or the worst is this card could be incredibly good for the previous game, but now my opponent's deck is not the same.
mm-hmm.
So this card is useless. That happens to me like a lot. I want
uh,
to learn how to cyber properly to not giving away more free games, but that's my weakest point. I will see
mhm.
cyberboarding.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes really hard, right? Because you don't really know on what level is your opponent. So like if you play against someone really good, you like kind of know that they're gonna cyber a certain way. But you know, if they're not as good, they might just keep their game one setup against you, and then you just like prepared for this like planeswalker plan post board, and you have like two negates in your hand, and they just aggro you and you die. So it's of course not that easy. But that's what makes cyberboarding so interesting.
Yeah, and also you have, as you say, like against different opponents, you cyber differently. For example, I remember a Pro Tour when Temur Energy was like the big deck that I played against Sam Black, and both of us were in Temur Energy. And at that point, we had two spell pierce in the cyber. We didn't use it in the mirror because it wasn't very good. But I bring one to try to stop the nuts from him.
Spell Pierce?
One spell pierce
It
because
was good
at
against
that point,
Confiscation Coup, I suppose.
yes, that exactly for that, because a Nissa on the play, anything on turn two and the blue green Nissa on three, it was GG, and I wanted to avoid that, and I end up winning the game because of the spell pierce, not against a Nissa, but against a Harlem's Lightning in a fight from the remember the four
I
three
wish I, wi-
the
I wish I can see Sam's face when you spell
yes, yes,
pierce.
well, he never expect the spell pierce, and was that kind of face like
Oh,
okay, okay. Yes. So cyborging is very unique in Magic. So
hmm
it's really hard to dominate completely.
yeah, like a lot of the people underestimate that, but when it comes to Magic, a lot of the times, I mean, it's obviously important to play well, but the cards that you actually draw is a lot of the times more important than just like the small edge that you can like do during the game. So for example, you see like two players play against each other and one of them wins, and it might seem like the other guy didn't really make mistakes, so he just got unlucky to lose. But the matter like maybe if he drew like a different card, he would have won. And that's like really hard to spot on camera. Like you don't really see these like sideboarding decisions. You just like can see the cards that they draw and the way they played. Um, as you said, like different people have different strengths, so it might just like seem to someone that maybe he's not that good because he's making like these small misplays during the games, but maybe he's just like sideboarding really well and like has a really good deck choice. So yeah, I think all of these aspects of Magic are really interesting. Do you want to
Yes,
add
I
anything to
agree.
that?
Yeah, and also I always look for like the why I'm so bad at cyborg
I
because
actually,
I
this is gonna be rude, but I actually think the reason is that because you're like a little bit lazy. I think that if you like really thought about it, you would be like, oh, this makes sense. But you know, you maybe like win game one, and you're like, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna win anyway. This looks pretty good, and you just run it. So that.
well at this moment I realize okay I know that I play well enough. But if I stop being a lazy person and I start to practice more, I think I can reach the MPL again. So nowadays I'm doing exactly that. I'm playing like a lot. I like training. I'm thinking. I'm using my brain. So
That helps. That
I
helps.
expect I have high expectations for this season. At least to stay in the rivals. That is not that hard to be
Hmm.
honest because from 46 that we are now, only 10 leave the rivals. So
What's your spot right now?
I'm in the spot where if season could now, I'm staying the rivals. I
Hmm.
doesn't have the shot to MPL like the Gantles, but I'm not in the lower portion that gets out the MPL, the rivals.
Awesome. Well, it was fun talking to you today. Thank you very much for your time. If there is still anything you would like to say, I mean, you can of course say it, but I don't want to make the video too long.
No, okay, it's fine. If people like this video, they can bring some questions, and we can do a second version if you want,
Sure.
if people like it. And I watched
I always
your
like talking
interview
to
with
you,
Ben.
so I would be happy to do that.
Yes, and I also, if people really ask, I have some videos of you and me playing ping pong, having a lot of fun. I don't know if you can afford that, but if people ask, the content creator needs to show the people what they want to see.
Um, if you guys like the video, consider to click on the like and subscribe button. Thank you, Luis, for your time, and see you guys. Bye bye.
Okay, Peter, have
See
a
you, man.
nice week. Bye
You
bye.
too.